Today on DNVR Buffs Live, we are joined by a very special guest. We'll also get into a little bit of recruiting and all sorts of other good stuff as it relates to the Buffs. Let's get it. Let's go.
Welcome into the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. Thursday on the bye week now.
Just chipping away.
We're making it through.
Chipping away, one day at a time.
We're doing our best. Today we'll get into a lot of NFL draft stuff, touch on some recruiting, but we start with PFF's Dalton Wasserman.
Yes. I reached out to Dalton and I said, man, Buff Nation misses seeing you guys talk about us this week, and since we don't have a game, maybe we can get you on to discuss a little bit about the Buffs to hold us over until the next time that Dalton and Max have a preview of a Buffs game to talk about.
Yes, we're all waiting. We'll get there soon enough. But shout out to PFF, man. I mean, they backed the Buffs last week going into this UCF game. They've been consistent on Shedeur for a while now, so it's going to be just good to talk to them and hear it straight from the source.
Do we have him?
We have him? Stand by.
We are waiting. All right, we're getting bad technology right now.
Damn technology.
We want to quickly, and we can circle back to this if we end up getting through to it, but discussed Jeremiah Brown's post.
Look, man, there's a reason why we weren't declarative about it. One, we didn't really know, and two, we've had this approach consistently. We let the players announce their moves and what they're trying to do, whether it's a commitment, a portal entry, whatever it is.
100%. And when I saw the news about Jeremiah, and I still think that he's probably just keeping his options open, seeing what he's going to do moving forward. And I'd love to just have him on to clarify. But when I saw that, I thought of anyone who there might be a chance that they could, potentially be doing this to stay and have more opportunities for playing time next year. I thought that might be JB.
I mean, his relationship with Coach Prime goes back. We all know that, to Jackson. So yeah, this isn't just a cut and dry situation where, JB's just taking the red shirt and he's automatically out. And as we've talked about, if you red shirt, you can still practice with the team and be a part of the team too. So it's a whole separate conversation. We'll get into it later.
We will get into it. But now we have our guy Dalton. What's going on, man?
How's it going, guys?
It's going great. Hey, I have to start by saying I have always been I've never changed up in my feelings about PFF. And my feelings are, when PFF backs up what I like, I love them. And when they don't, I hate them. So right now, we love you guys.
Don't worry about that. We get that from just about every fan base that's possible. So it's always if we agree with them, they love us, especially on the college level. And if we don't, they hate us. And if we're trying to point out a weakness or something, so it always works both ways. We're so used to it. But look, everything we do comes from our great analysts. I was one of them behind the scenes for a while. I did the grading for a few years, so I know how all that works and the process and the number of hours that goes in behind the scenes from all of our analysts. And look, they watch all the tape twice over to get as accurate information as we can. So we get, trust me, we get the love and the hate from all sides of it. And we just have to kind of take it as it comes and roll with the punches.
I love that, man, because it's a thankless job for sure. I mean, I did some game charting and stuff in my time, so I know how It's grueling. It takes a lot of time. And you got to be thorough with it too. So we appreciate the good work and what you guys are saying about the Buffs. But what has been your impression about this team? 4-1 right now as we go into October.
Honestly, I think this is real. I think, look, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense that when you have one of the best quarterbacks in the country, right, last season only winning 4 games, and you have maybe the best player in the country in Travis Hunter, the expectations should be higher than that, right? And I thought they certainly could be better this season. But what I think you're getting is exactly what they needed, is better play in the trenches. And that starts, for me, especially on the defensive side of the ball, what Robert Livingston has been able to do with this group, especially in run defense. Right now, as a team, they are 13th in the country in our metrics in run defense grade. That's 1 spot behind Michigan. If you ever told me in the preseason they would be equal with Michigan in our run defense grading, I would have called you nuts. But look, they've made additions on the defensive line in the transfer portal. They've made additions at linebacker. I think the insertion of Nikhai Hill-Green at linebacker next to LaVonta Bentley into the starting lineup, I think that's made a massive difference for their entire front seven. So, look, as bad as it is, as everybody complained about the offensive line and pass pro and being unable to run the ball on offense, their run D was just as big an issue last season. They were the 11th worst team in the country in run defense last season, and now they're the 13th best. It's an enormous jump they've made, and it's just now they're just playing better in the trenches and better complementary football. It's a better football team than they had last year.
Quickly, I just want to say, I'm the biggest homer in the world, so it is so great hearing you guys each week, kind of talk about some of the things that we've talked about, but I know I'm biased. I also know that you guys aren't. You're looking at numbers and kind of evaluating this thing, just seeing what you saw, and you guys had it nailed last week against UCF. I thought it was awesome, seeing both of you guys say that, because I was sitting there thinking, what is going on with this spread? It doesn't make sense to me. And then I heard you guys say it, and I'm like, all right, I'm not crazy here. So just wanted to kind of give you guys your flowers. I think you're doing a great job. As it relates to this team, you've been pretty high on it going all the way back to the preseason. I think you said somewhere between 7 and 9 games. Now you're upping that even a little bit. What was it that happened in the offseason that you really appreciated, that thought they could make that big jump?
Yeah, so last year what you had with Deion Sanders coming in as a new head coach, and it's Coach Prime, and it's trying to add talent to what was the worst team in the Power 5, right? And that was the idea. Just collect talent and clean house and kind of just filter in a new culture, right? And actually, even though they won 4 games, they did a successful job with that. Obviously, they have a great quarterback and Travis Hunter and some weapons. This year, the difference was it was a much more targeted approach in the transfer portal to me, along with the recruiting side. Jordan Seaton's playing great at left tackle. It always helps to get the number 1 offensive tackle in high school in the country, right? But such a more targeted approach to get proven defenders, right? Proven run defenders like B.J. Green and Chidozie Nwankwo and Nikhai Hill-Green and so many other guys in that front seven. The offensive line with guys like Justin Mayers and the running back additions of Dallin Hayden and Isaiah Augustave. There was such a more targeted approach in the transfer portal this offseason. And I went to FAU, so I love the Wester brothers. Those 2 guys are so good down there. I know what those 2 can do, especially LaJonte. But I think you just had now – they took this team, and obviously they got 2 new coordinators too, but they took this team and said, what do we do right? What do we do wrong? And whatever we do wrong right now, we're going to fix this in the portal. We're going to find it. We need a slot guy in coverage. We have Preston Hodge. We need an outside guy. We have DJ McKinney. You just look at everything they've brought in. Last year it was about just improving the overall talent level in any direction possible. This year it was targeted to fill the gaps of the things that they did wrong last year, and you're seeing that come to fruition now. It really is. Last year, they were more talented than they were with that 1-win team they had the year before. This year, they're more well-rounded.
You guys have talked a lot about those linebackers, and we're greatly aware of what Nikhai and LaVonta have done. But on the defensive line, specifically on the edge too, what have you seen from those guys? Both in stopping the run and in the pass rush department.
Yeah, the pass rush is still coming along for sure, and they're trying to find their groove as far as their, are they a 4-man rush team? Are they a blitzing team? And I think a lot of that Robert Livingston's trying to figure out. But the run D is spectacular, and the way that those guys are keeping contained and allowing the linebackers to fill gaps. I mentioned Green, Deion Hayes is doing a great job. Sam Okunlola is doing a great job, and it's just such this team effort in their front seven. Those guys keep contained. The inside guys penetrate. The linebackers fill. I said to somebody else earlier, earlier this week, one of my favorite things in the country right now to watch is the end zone shots of Colorado's run defense, because you see every single gap being filled by every single guy. It's not just, and I know Hill Green is a guy I'm talking about as an impact guy who's made a difference, but what it's done is create this team-wide thing where, look, Bill Belichick always talked about do your job. You got guys in their front seven all doing their individual job, and the team effort, again, off the edge, can't give up contain, and they're not doing that right now. Linebackers filling gaps, and they're doing that right now. It's such a great team effort to watch in their front seven, and they're all doing a great job right now.
So the clip I posted of you today when I was kind of teasing the show is you talking about how, you think Colorado has a legitimate chance to win the Big 12 at this point. And one of the things that you've talked about multiple times is what you think the recipe is, which is a team that can stop the run and a team that has a good quarterback. Obviously, Colorado's doing both of those things and has a great quarterback. What is it about that kind of recipe that you think is so important in the Big 12?
So I don't think there's a ton of elite quarterbacks in the Big 12. And personally, I think Shedeur is still – I know Cam Ward's gotten a lot of run. Jalen Milroe just had a great game against Georgia. I think Shedeur Sanders is the best quarterback in the country. And the way he processes defense is at an elite level, at an NFL level, honestly. I think he's actually the most ready to start in the NFL right now of any college quarterback. And I look at the Big 12 and I go, there's not a ton of elite quarterbacks. There was some guys we talked about before the season where I go, Shedeur is number one. I would say Noah Fafita from Arizona is the second best one. And then the way some other guys have played, there's a pretty darn big drop-off to the rest of the Big 12 quarterbacks. And the other thing in the Big 12, so many teams can run the ball well, right? You've got Kansas State, your next opponent. You've got UCF, who was an elite run team before last week, obviously. Oklahoma State with Ollie Gordon, Texas Tech with Taj Brooks, Cincinnati's got a good backer too. There's so many teams in this conference that can run the football and that lean on their run game. And the team that was able to find a way to slow down these run games was going to be at a huge advantage. West Virginia's got a great three-headed rushing monster. Kansas has Devin Neal. I could go through almost every team except, honestly, Colorado, and they can all run the ball really well. So the ability to stop the run and make it a quarterback battle for Colorado is huge, because anytime they get in a shootout, a passing game, a quarterback battle, they're at an advantage. They're at a distinct advantage. So you look at them right now, he's the best quarterback in the conference. And as a team, they have the highest run defense grade in the conference. Those are the two things that I think those are the things in the Big 12. If that ends up being Arizona because they have a great quarterback and they can defend the run well, cool. But I have felt since the preseason stopping the run in this conference was at such a premium, because every single week that you got about an 80-90% chance you're playing a great running game.
We've talked about that this week too, how, you mentioned UCF, one of the best rushing teams in the country. Same with Kansas State coming up next weekend. But CU's played, 4 games against teams who really want to win by running the football, with Kansas State being the next. Just what is your early preview of that matchup? Do you think we could see something similar to what we saw last weekend against UCF?
I don't know that it'll be as dominant, because I do think K-State's defense is better than UCF. So even in their prior game against TCU, I wasn't particularly impressed with UCF's defense. I think K-State's defense is more fundamentally sound. And the biggest difference for me with K-State, they're very similar in what they want to do, and K-State runs more gap schemes than any team in the country. They're going to run power and be pulling guards, and they test your linebackers. This is going to be a fun test, because they test your linebackers as much as any team in the country with everything they do. And it's kind of this, I don't want to say glorified triple option thing with what they have with Avery Johnson, but Avery Johnson, DJ Giddens, and Dylan Edwards is as good a rushing backfield as we have in the country. The big difference for me, the one crack in Colorado's kind of run D armor here, is quarterback run, and Avery Johnson, he's not as big as KJ Jefferson, but he's got track level speed, man. I mean, he could take off for 60, 70 yards on every play. Got a different level of speed than KJ Jefferson does. Johnson is the biggest problem to me, because I think when it comes to just traditional handoffs and having to play the run in a traditional sense, Colorado's really good. I really do think their front seven is really good. That's the difference, though, is all the diversity in K-State's run game. And honestly, you guys probably hate to hear it, but former Buffalo Dylan Edwards is playing really well and has added another dimension to their offense. It's a problem. It is a real problem. I know UCF was leading the nation in rushing going into last week, but I think K-State's run game is even better.
We got love for Dylan. Unfortunately, we wish he was still wearing the black and gold, but he's a great kid. You talked also You said, I'm not sure if I would make Colorado the favorite right now to win the conference. So I just want to hear, like, what's your top 3, top 4? Like, how are you looking at it right now?
There's like 4 or 5 teams. Colorado's in the mix. I picked Arizona to win the conference in the preseason. I think it was a huge win. They got it at Utah last week, one of the toughest places to play. Really like Arizona. And the same theme holds to me. If Shedeur is the best quarterback in the conference, I think Fafita's second. Tetro McMillan's amazing. I can't wait for him to go up against Travis Hunter in a couple weeks too. But I had Arizona's in that mix. Kansas State, despite their loss to BYU, is still in that mix, but this is a huge game against Colorado for them. I think Utah, this is the thing about, I don't think anybody in conference is going to go undefeated. I don't think anybody's going 9-0 in conference. So one loss doesn't kill you. Anybody with one loss right now isn't out of it, like a Utah or like an Arizona, right? I think the biggest thing is you've got a couple of teams right now that aren't as good as we expected. Oklahoma State has some real problems right now. Jalen Daniels is really struggling for Kansas. But I would say Arizona, Utah, K-State, Colorado, and maybe we'll see this week. I'm still on the fence about West Virginia and if they can recover from 2 out-of-conference losses, just like Colorado had to recover from an out-of-conference loss. West Virginia, if they get a win against Oklahoma State, I might still be looking at them as well.
Dalton, PFF's been pretty consistent when it comes to Shedeur as well. Just what have you seen from him so far this season, and do you think he's still in pole position to be first overall pick in April?
I'm not sure. I mean, there's as far as that goes, there's a lot of scouts that are going to have a lot of different opinions on Shedeur, and I've seen even our own Trevor Sikkema after Jalen Milroe's game against Georgia moved Milroe to the top of the board for quarterbacks. I think there's going to be a lot of opinions on this come the end of the year because Cam Ward's playing great, Jalen Milroe's playing great. Carson Beck, I think, still shouldn't be totally out of this mix. I think he's still great and showed you that in the second half. It's going to be a race for the first one, and I think the big thing is you've got all sorts of different types of players too. So we're going to be speculating about the teams who are going to need a new quarterback and teams, depending on the style that they want. Max and I just did a mock draft yesterday, and I had Shedeur going to Tennessee as sort of a similar-ish kind of style passer to Joe Burrow, right? Pocket passer that can move and sees the field really well. But I think you have different styles of guys, but the numbers still support. Shedeur is an elite quarterback. There's no question. When he's protected, he's as dangerous as any quarterback in the country, whether he's in the pocket, on the move. And the thing I've been so amazed with always, even watching him last year, the master in college football right now, reading coverages and getting the ball where it needs to be. It's incredibly rare that he makes the wrong decision on who to throw the football to, whether if they're in man coverage and he finds Travis Hunter, if they're in zone coverage and he finds someone sneaking through. And then I loved the play last week, the Will Shepard touchdown catch. What was it, 3rd and 14? Was it some long situation? Yeah. He goes, you know what? He's 6'3". Go get it, dude. It's just so constantly the right decisions being made. And I believe through 5 games, he's only got 2 turnover-worthy plays. He doesn't turn the ball over, and he reads coverages with a mastery. Honestly, he's mentally, he's an NFL quarterback right now.
One last one for me, Dalton, just Cam Silman-Craig. What have you guys noticed from him? Because we think he's the heartbeat of this defense. Other than Travis, we think he's been one of the most impactful players on this defense. Obviously, that 95-yard fumble return. But what have you guys seen from him?
I think he kind of has added from the safety spot that same level of attitude that the front 7 has given you. Like you just see again, it's contagious too. It goes back to the secondary. I think about even Hunter forcing the fumble at the end against Baylor, Silman-Craig with fumble recoveries and hitting people. I think it's just the entire mindset of this team, and Silman-Craig's a good example where they want to hit people. They want to punch back. They want to get physical, right? And that's the mentality we didn't see last year. And he's got 15 defensive stops right now. That's second on their team behind Nikhai Hill-Green. He wants in on the action. And I think you're right. Kind of one of those heart and soul guys. I don't know if he's an NFL guy or not, but you need guys like that on your defense, and it gets contagious. I've talked about the front 7 a lot lately, but you got guys on the back end who are tackling. As great as Travis Hunter is in coverage, he's got one of the best run D grades on the team. It is so contagious how much more physical this team is playing on the defensive side. I really think the last piece of the puzzle here is playing with that same sort of physicality on the offensive line. We started to see flashes against UCF, but it's contagious when you've got a whole team hitting the way that Cameron and guys and Nikhai and guys like that are hitting. it's infectious. And it really, when it's a team effort like that, it's hard to get it to stop.
Last thing before we let you go, whoever on your team's idea it was to parcel out your show and cut it into each team and games preview, give them a shout out, because I probably wouldn't have found you guys if it weren't for that. And then lastly, just want to give you a chance to plug where people can find your work.
Absolutely, and yeah, it's actually I agree with you. It is the best thing we do is parse them up and do that and cut them up and get different previews going in that. But yeah, so we on the college show Sundays at 9 a.m. we review all of the biggest games from the day and the weekend before, and on Tuesday nights at 6 o'clock Eastern, we do the previews of the next week's biggest games. Sure to have Colorado, K-State next week. Absolutely, that's already a locked on the list. And Tuesdays at 6 Eastern, 4 Mountain Time for you guys on the PFF College Football Show YouTube channel. And after the show gets released, we also have audio links to those too.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you, and we're going to have to get Max on here too. Maybe we'll have both of you on at the same time sometime soon. For sure. We'll have to figure something out. Appreciate you guys. Thank you,
Thanks, man. And there he goes, Dalton Wasserman, PFF College. They know ball.
Certainly do.
All right, let's take a quick break, and then we'll kind of break down what we just talked about.
Let me just say, I reserve the right to say they don't know ball if I ever disagree with them.
Okay. Shout out to Game Time, the homies. The Broncos are in town this weekend. Big game against the Raiders. If you want to get in the door, hit up our friends at Game Time. Wherever you are in the country, there's tons of college football games going on, events, concerts, all kinds of stuff. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use the promo code BUFFS for $20 off your first purchase. Make sure you use that Game Time Picks feature as well. You can see exactly where your seat is, the hottest deals they have on Game Time, and much more. Terms apply. Create an account and redeem code BUFFS, BUFFS, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it?
Game time.
Let's go.
Also, shout out to Kerr's Lot.
Kerr's Lot.
I don't know, the best beer when you're just looking to chill. And boy, am I going to be doing that this weekend.
Same.
Solo dolo football weekend, and I probably have 60 Kerr's Lots in my fridge right now.
What's the over-under for the weekend?
I don't know. Honestly, the biggest obstacle is just getting off the couch to go get another one.
Yep.
Maybe I can create like a pulley system.
Yeah, you need some like robot or something. Or
actually, I have this when you have like company over, you're gonna have drinks.
Yeah,
you can like put ice in a little thing. I have one of those. Maybe I'll just bring that over to the couch.
That's what I was gonna say. You should do the ultimate bachelor move and just actually grab a cooler, fill it with ice, and just put it next to you on the couch.
Use it as like an extra leg rest.
Yeah,
that's epic. Well, that's what I'm gonna be doing this weekend. If you want to join me on the Kerr's Lot train, you can even have it delivered to your door, which if I didn't already have a stocked fridge, I'd probably be doing that as well with Instacart by going to KersLot.com/DNVR. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Shout out to Dalton from PFF for coming on. That was great stuff, man. I feel like we learned quite a bit from there. Where do you want to start?
Oh, man. I actually know exactly where I want to start. It's probably where you want to start.
Hell yeah. Let's go.
I'm going to give you your opportunity here. What was that called?
Joe Burrow.
I thought you had to be insane or a meat rider to make that to make that comparison.
Yeah, I thought so too.
But it's
that's
spot
how
on.
he plays.
Yes, it's spot on. And again, we always acknowledge the fact that from a number standpoint, it'd be difficult for anyone,
of course,
to get to the numbers that Joe Burrow put up in that season. But from in the way that Shedeur dissects the field, the way that he dissects defense, the way that he just delivers the ball to the right person at the right time, and then I always thought Joe Burrow's athleticism was similar to Shedeur's in the sense it's like would rather not run. But if I need to, I can go get us a first down.
Yeah, underrated. He's going to surprise a defense if you play cover two or man two, and you just, the defense parts in the middle. Like, they're going to take off, and they're going to rip off 20 yards, and you go, oh, he can do that?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So I love that. Someone should probably just clip and zoom in on me and Jake as soon as he said it, because we just both looked at each other. That was awesome.
Hell yeah. These guys love the linebackers that we have, but hearing him talk about, watching the end zone angle of Colorado's defense and seeing how gap sound they are, how physical, how they want to hit. He's completely right. It's a mentality type of thing. And I think that was one of the biggest, if not the biggest criticism last year of this team was, I don't want to call them soft, but they just weren't playing that type of brand of football that we're seeing this year. It's just the physicality, the discipline, and the, doing your job, playing your part for the team has really become the theme of this year's team.
I mean, sometimes playing great defense is just about being unselfish.
Yep.
There are times where you're not going to make the play, but you have to do your job for someone else to make the play. And I think that the average person would be blown away to find out that this team that, everyone thought was just outcasts and, everyone else's leftovers.
Yeah.
And is here just, last chance that type of bullshit that's been thrown around.
Right.
That those guys are playing for each other, that those guys are playing unselfish defense. It's just awesome, again, to hear other people say the things that we talk about every day and believe. But, he's not watching it with any sort of slant. Real quick, as it relates to watching the end zone angle of Colorado's defense, if anyone can help us,
please, God,
see the all-22 film. Well, everyone's got the all-22 but us. What's going on here?
I don't know.
Someone send us the all-22.
We will get it one way or another. I promise we will find it.
I'm getting desperate now. I'm making public pleas.
Yeah. We've had the squeaky wheel. It gets the grease, right?
Exactly.
We'll find it. But what he said about Shedeur and this, and we'll talk a little bit NFL draft today too, but this quarterback class, again, last year's with Caleb and Jaden and all these guys, it was, but it's not as good as next year's class. And then all of a sudden, we knew about Shedeur. He mentioned Beck and Milroe and all these guys, but this class is just stacking weeks on weeks on weeks of great football from the quarterback position. So there is going to be some competition, I think, for Shedeur for QB1, but obviously, we think he's still the best, and I think he has shown the best stuff. Maybe besides Milroe last weekend, because that was heroic.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun debate because, Jalen Milroe is awesome. And he's so fun to watch. And he's very different from Shedeur in the sense of, it's just all tools. And that I don't mean that to take away anything from him, but it's just he's got a big arm. He's incredibly athletic. He's strong. He's tough. He's fast. And a lot of teams are going to love that. And then there's the other line of thinking, which is just okay, but yeah, Shedeur's already reading defenses at an NFL rate. And that's the biggest thing that worries me. Look at, Bo Nix. The game is moving really, really, really fast for him right now.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's going to happen to Shedeur when he gets out there on the field. So, CJ Stroud's another one who just he went out there and he just knew what he was doing, and he kind of made it look easy, at least from a rookie perspective. So there's going to be people who say, give me the tools and let me work with them. There's going to be other people who say, yeah, give me the guy who's ready to go out there and ball right now.
Yep. Love what he said about Cam as well, but he just made me feel better about what I've seen every Saturday from this team, what I see when I watch back this team, and this defense is for real, man.
Yep. And I love what he said about physicality being contagious.
It is.
And it's absolutely been contagious for the defense. But I saw a little something from that offensive line on Saturday.
Kareem Harden, he's out there putting the work on some kids.
Yeah, and just, putting guys on the ground, finishing blocks, just being nasty. And, it was one of the things that we said about Khalil Benson, who, he'll be back or should be back for K-State. But, that you just need that nastiness. And as it kind of permeates through the team and those guys are practicing against that defensive line every day that's full of it, maybe those guys are going to get hardened a little bit, and no Kareem pun there. But, go out there and continue just hitting people.
He said it's contagious. I'd hope it spreads to the other side of the ball too.
Well, and running the ball is almost self-fulfilling in that way because it allows the offensive line to get out some of that stuff.
Yeah.
If you don't get to be the aggressor in pass protection. It's literally against the rules.
Yeah, it's reactionary.
Yeah, you have to, get into a set Whereas when you run the football, you get to say, just go knock someone over.
Right.
And it's a little more technical than that, of course. But I think you maybe have unlocked a little bit of physicality in those guys by running the football.
I hope so. I don't need the welfare check. RK does, by the way. You're the one with 60 careers lives.
People confuse us more often than you would think.
I've seen JK too.
Oh, yes.
And I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Yeah. All right, let's take a quick break, and then we'll kind of touch on everything else here. Shout out to our friends over at Sleeper, the homies, the best fantasy football app out there. That's what we play on for the DNVR Fantasy League here in the office. If you think you have what it takes, download the Sleeper app and use the promo code BUFFS, and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Check out Sleeper Picks as well. They got more or less on yardage, touchdowns, attempts, completions, receptions, all kinds of stuff. So if you want to have a little more fun on your NFL or college football weekends, hit up our friends at Sleeper. But again, just the best fantasy football app out there. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's term of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today.
Also, shout out to Promotico. They are the ones who have blessed us with the incredible vehicle that you guys have been seeing on the roads. Of course, our tour bus. They did such an incredible job with that thing. And if you're looking to do something like that, maybe you're a band who wants to go on tour, anything like that, I highly recommend reaching out to Promotico. They do it all. They wrap, it's all full service. They did the wrap. Yep. They provided the vehicle. They provided the driver. They plan all the trips and all the stops and everything like that. So it's a really, really cool full service setup that they have over there at Promotico. So visit www.promotoco.net or call 678-208-3436.
Shout out Sleeper, shout out Promotico. All right, let's do a little bit of recruiting here. We talked about this guy on Monday after we had we just had a wave of recruiting news after the UCF game going into this bye week. And this one might have gotten hidden in there, but I tried to throw it in there, that Malik Clark, when he decommitted from FSU, Colorado's offered him.
Yeah.
The 4-star wide receiver out of South Carolina. He decommitted from them 2 days ago, and the Buffs offered him yesterday.
Awesome. We'll keep a close eye on that one.
That's a name to watch for. And then today, Rivals reported that UCF defensive line commit Christian Hudson has scheduled an official visit with Colorado. He's a 3-star recruit. He actually plays both sides of the ball.
Well, would you look at that?
Yeah. He's a high 3-star, though, according to 247 Composite, from Daytona Beach, Florida. I don't know when the official visit is, but it's sounding like next weekend, obviously, K-State, and then Cincinnati. The 2 home games in this 3-game stretch are going to be massive, massive recruiting weekends.
Make sure someone tells him that we have great history with Chris Hudson's at Colorado.
There you go. And then I kind of just threw this in there, but a lot of people talking about Colorado's next quarterback right now.
Okay.
A lot of people speculating that Kyron Drones is just going to enter the portal and he's a shoo-in to come to CU.
Okay.
I'll just say the Buffs are working very hard to earn a 2025 quarterback commitment.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we've been talking about Juju Lewis for a long time.
Yep.
And every time I tap in to find out how things are going, it still sounds good.
Gears are turning, I think, in that department. I mean, and they want to get it wrapped up, because you get that wrapped up, and as we've talked about, waves of commitments just follow if you get a Julian Lewis. So they want it to happen just as bad as I'm sure the fans do. So patience.
Absolutely. But maybe it's there could be multiple avenues here.
Of course.
So I'll be interested to see what happens. But I still feel really good about Juju. And that's exciting. I have something I want to riff on.
Yeah, go for it.
This idea that the defense is better without Shilo.
Oh, please.
This has been floating around, and I'm going to try to do this 100% without taking anything away from Carter Stoutmeyer, because he deserves a lot of credit.
Absolutely, he does.
For what he has done since he stepped in. And I think that he has earned the right to play in certain packages and get out there on the field. He's certainly an asset to this team, and I'm excited that we have him because I think he's going to be a great player here for a long time.
Yep.
With that being said, I feel like we're forgetting that, one, when you talk about physicality, Shilo brings it maybe more than anyone, and this is already an incredibly physical defense. Two, what has been the recipe these last 3 games that has helped this team? Actually, didn't really happen against Baylor, but against Colorado State and UCF. Turnovers. When you add turnovers to the mix, that's how you dominate.
And he was the leading turnover guy last year.
Exactly. And then on top of that, I think that his football IQ is deeply underappreciated.
People don't understand how much of a student in the game he is.
Yes.
How he talked about Coach Kelly last year was very telling to me.
Yes. He's in there on all of the defensive meetings, asking questions, getting dialed in. He, like you said, he's a student of the game, a lot like Shedeur in that way.
Yep.
He wants to go into these games as prepared as possible. So I just think there's there's a weird thing happening where it's like when you win,
you don't want
to change anything, but people are using that as a reason to go after Shilo and talk about, he got the personal foul and this, that, and I just couldn't disagree more. And again, I don't want that to be taken away from Carter, but Shedeur Sanders is a incredibly experienced football player who is very skilled and a huge asset to this team.
Yep, I agree, man.
Not just like some throw-in.
For sure. Could you scroll up a bit? There's a comment I want to talk about, talking about quarterbacks right there, Don Juan. Asking about, but would Juju start from day one? Doesn't think that's the best thing for the program next year, but we'll get to what's best for the program next year, first off.
Yes.
But second off, what's best for the program, I think, is to have someone like Julian Lewis, who is there for at least 3 years, who you can truly build around and use him as a recruiter as opposed to getting a stopgap, no matter who it is, for 1 year in the portal. I think it's better for the program if you get that 5-star freshman who is well connected all over the country, who everyone likes. So,
absolutely. And I don't even really want to go down this road, but I'll just say this. What happens next year is like the beginning of a whole new journey.
Yes.
And I think that when we get to that point, that'll be important for people to, realize and understand. But I'm excited for that.
Of course.
I'm a lot more excited for the rest of this season.
Yeah, definitely. A few more things.
Carter Stoutmeyer is a true sophomore.
Yep. So Mel Kiper put out another edition of his big board. No real changes we're talking about. Travis is still 1. Shedeur is still the top quarterback and ranked 11th or 12th on his list. Sorry. Milroe is catching him though. He's 13, right behind Shedeur. So what we talked about with Dalton there, the race for QB1. Carson Beck drops down to 15. Cam Ward is at 16. So, and Ewers at 17 as well.
What are your Carson Beck thoughts?
We talked a lot about him on the draft pod today.
Okay.
It wasn't great, but you have to give the kid credit for how he bounced back from that hole and just kept chipping away, kept making throws, kept trying, had his team in position to win at the end. Yeah, were the turnovers sloppy? Were some of them, was the screen interception really bad? Yes, but he kept them in position to win, and the guys obviously rallied around him still. So I think you have to give him credit for that.
I think you absolutely have to give him credit for that. I'm going to put your feet to the fire a little more here, though. That was kind of a political answer.
All right, well, let's hear it.
Would you take him in the top half of the first round if you're a QB needy team?
I would not take him in the first round.
Okay, I would not either.
No, I'd take Shedeur, Milroe, Cam, probably Ewers in the first round before I even considered Carson Beck.
Okay. Yeah, I feel the same way.
The ESPN NFL Draft crew did like a round table type of thing here, and they were discussing who's the top prospect in this draft.
Should be an open and shut case.
You would think, right? It really wasn't, though.
And when we say the term top prospect, I assume we're saying which one of these guys is going to have the best career.
Yeah, just number one overall. Like, regardless of position, regardless of age, whatever's going on, just the best football player in this draft.
Yeah, that's the easiest question ever.
Mel Kiper said Travis Hunter.
Good job.
Jordan Reed said Travis Hunter.
Good job.
Matt Miller and someone else, though, did not say Travis Hunter. Field Yates said Travis Hunter.
Good job. Friend of the program.
I don't know who this other guy is, but Matt Miller said Will Johnson, and the other guy said Mason Graham. Say it.
How could you put him above? I can't even go down. He's not even the best corner.
It's not what Matt Miller says. Here's the blurb. He says, I love Hunter. He would be my pick for the Heisman Trophy, but I can't put him at number one over Johnson. The Michigan junior is a bigger, better cornerback than Hunter. The physicality shows in how he attacks the ball and impacts the run game. Johnson is also equally as dynamic with the ball in his hands and has returned both of his interceptions this season for touchdowns, and he now has 9 career interceptions. Matt Miller's words.
Hey, how many catches does he have?
Well, he's got 2 interceptions, so 2.
2 catches for 2 touchdowns. Impressive. Yeah. That's crazy work. Look, Will Johnson could end up being Pat Surtain.
He's a baller.
Travis Hunter is Pat Surtain and Justin Jefferson in one.
I know.
Crazy work.
I agree, man. But that's where we're at right now. Travis is in the updated Heisman odds. He's like third to 2 quarterbacks. I think it's Milroe and Cam Ward right now. And then Travis is like plus 750 to their like plus 400-ish, I think. And as we just read right here, I mean, I've seen a lot of places mock Travis first overall and have him as their number one prospect.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's never been I'm trying to think about this. I can't remember the last time there was a conversation this easy when it comes to number one prospect. Did you hear what Darius Slay had to say about this?
I saw it. I didn't listen to it, though.
I just loved what he said. I mean, I think a lot of these NFL guys are having a really hard time imagining Travis play both ways, which they'll learn. Mm-hmm. But, he basically said, like, I think he can do it. But if he chooses to go to either side or an organization decides to put him on either side, like, he's going to be the best. Basically, like, and then he maybe, like, walks it back a little bit, but he was basically saying, like, he's going to eventually be the best corner in the league or eventually be the best wide receiver in the league. And I think he ends up playing both and still challenges for that title on each side. But, I think as a corner, he wants him to play corner because he's like, he's going to reset what it means to play a corner because of his ability to change the game with those types of plays. But, there's never been someone like this where you could actually fill 2 holes on your team with 1 pick.
I know. He's a unicorn, bro.
Yeah, Riley Moss has been kind of impressive for the Broncos at corner. Mm-hmm. But before that, it's like you have a huge hole at wide receiver and a hole at cornerback too.
Yeah. And
then you can just fill that.
Yep.
You can just fix that in 1 play, 1 move, 1 button.
We can only hope.
I know. Well, and Travis has been steadfast in his desire to be a Denver Bronco.
Do you think the Broncos win on Sunday?
I don't even know who the Broncos are.
If they're 3-2, there's absolutely no chance they're in the Travis Hunter conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even want to know how many games it's been since we last beat the Raiders.
I know it's a lot.
Yeah. So I don't know. I predicted us to lose, but as I said to Zach, I said, please say that the reason I'm predicting us to lose is because every time I've predicted us to lose, we've won, and every time I predicted us to win, we lost.
Fair enough. I've never felt more conflicted by watching my team win.
I don't know, man. I'm more worried about the quarterback situation.
I mean, I can't even get back into that conversation.
That's what has me concerned right now.
That's all I got. Did you have something else to say about the JB thing at all, or were you good there?
Oh, no, I hope JB's back. And it would make sense. Like, I don't know if this is happening at other schools, but I don't think it's the worst idea for some of these guys, especially that are coming up to the end of their eligibility, I did it in NCAA. I redshirted JB because I'm like, okay, well, I've got Trevor and I've got LaVonta and I've got Nakai all in front of him. So like, let me make sure that he doesn't like get out there for 4 games on special teams, and then I don't have him next year. Yep. Where next year he could start for me. And I have to assume this is happening all around the country, where guys are looking at the depth chart and just saying like, whoa, this kind of clears out for me next year. And I feel like one more year, if I just stay, in the middle, I can make a big leap.
Didn't Owen redshirt when he was starting in 22, right?
Yes.
He got hurt, though, I know, and that was like the catalyst of that conversation. But
and I remember Coach Sanford essentially said, like, yeah, like I'm going to allow him to preserve his redshirt, even though I kind of think that he gives us the best chance to win.
Right.
It might have been in private, but
but it happens everywhere.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, and so it's I hope he stays. And honestly, I would hope Trevor stays too. I don't know. We don't know. He hasn't made his intentions public either.
But we will wait until they announce.
Yep.
What do you love?
Love my Toyota. Love my Toyota. It's just great, man. Unfortunately, it's just not going to get much work this weekend because I'll be stationary. But
you know she's going to start up next time you need her.
Exactly. She'll be safe in the garage, and she'll be ready next time to go. There's just so many great things, but right now I'll just highlight the fact that the people that work at Toyota have all just been amazing to us. Whether it's we're just going in for scheduled maintenance, or have a question about something with what's covered and what's not, and anything and everything. They're just so helpful, and they were actually DNVR fans when we showed up. We didn't even know that. And that was even before we had these logos on our microphones. So shout out to Toyota. If you're looking for a new car, I highly, highly recommend checking out a Toyota. Just go drive one at a Front Range Toyota store near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is a proud partner of CU Athletics and the official vehicle of DNVR. By the way, Spence just got a new Toyota truck.
Yeah.
I think it's the Tundra. Is that the biggest one?
I know he had one before. I don't know if he got a new one.
He had a smaller one. Now he got the big one.
Yeah.
It's a Haas. The thing is sick.
Hell yeah. Good for Spence. And also shout out to our friends at UC Health with Coach Prime as the Chief Motivation Officer of their Ready, Set, Co challenge to get Colorado back to its rightful place as the healthiest state in the country. Take advantage of this bye week. Don't sleep on sleep, I know we have a lot of football to watch, a lot of important things to attend to this weekend, but, with the Buffs taking the weekend off, you should also take some time off for yourself. Get some more sleep, whether it's going to bed earlier, putting your phone down, or whatever you need to do to just get more shut-eye. Again, Coach Prime wants to help you and other Coloradans be your healthiest selves as the Chief Motivation Officer. If you want to join UC Health's Ready, Set, Co challenge, click the link in the show notes or go to www.uchealth.org/readysetco. Tacoma is smaller, Tundra biggest.
Yeah, so I think he went from the Tacoma to the Tundra.
Okay.
And that thing is sick.
Let's go to the Toyota chat. What do we got today? Good Time Chaser asks, what's PFF mean? Pro Football Focus.
Pro Football Focus. So technically, should it be CFF? College Football Focus for those guys?
CFBFF?
CFF. College Football Focus.
Okay.
I don't know why that's not computing for you.
I don't know. I didn't make the anagram, and I didn't want any business in it. Is Bent healthy? I'm pretty sure he's fine. I know Neely said he's been dealing with that turf toe, but obviously he gets this whole week too. So.
Yep.
D-Mills, how many wheel routes will be run by Kansas State?
I haven't watched Kansas State yet. I should probably take the opportunity to get ahead of that.
I watched.
Although I guess we're 56 straight days of football starting now.
Yes, sir.
So I don't know if that's a big part of their offense. If it's already a big part of their offense, you're going to see it a lot. If it's not, I'm sure you'll see a couple that they add in.
I mean, I was just watching highlights today of the Oklahoma State game from last weekend, and I don't remember seeing, not like UCF, where it was like, oh, you got to watch for this type of thing.
Yep.
So,
and UCF, it worked out perfectly for them because Bent even got screened. Like, he got picked. Usually, you have to be able to protect that route because it takes a while to develop. That one developed pretty quickly because it just popped wide open when he went under it. But it's not as easy as it sounds.
Yep.
Or else everyone would be doing it.
Exactly. The North Side asks, who is our next quarterback that's going to throw to these wide receivers? Oh, boy. If we knew. Do you understand how much easier our life would be?
I feel like it's going to be Juju.
I think it's going to be Julian as well. Scotty Spittin says, what were your letter grades on the different position groups going into the season? What grade would you give them so far?
Man, I don't think we graded the position groups going into the season. We might have ranked them.
Yeah.
I'll say this. Wherever defensive line was, way up.
And linebacker.
And linebacker, way up.
Yep. I mean, wide receiver, quarterback, cornerback probably would have been the top three, maybe even safety too, and I don't think there's been any drop-off from them.
No. Heck, even tight end starting to trend up.
Yep. I think everything is, even offensive line.
Offensive line, at least from week 4 to week 5, trended up.
Yeah.
I mean, even from earlier in the season, it's trending up. Not especially, but Jordan keeps getting better.
He does. Louise asks, is Kyron going to the NFL next year, or could he portal to CU?
He could. He has a year of eligibility.
He does, but he's got to enter the portal for that to happen.
Yes.
Which we've got to get through the season. So,
but also
and that's if he wants to do it.
Right. I don't think you're gonna have everything where it's like, okay, you're getting Juju and you're getting Kyron, and
there's only one ball. There's only one quarterback on the field at a time.
And I think one of the big pitches to a freshman would be that, like, this is going to be your show.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Yes. Ivan, what else does Travis Hunter have to do this season to secure the Heisman, stay healthy, and play a full year? I think that's what he has to do. Shout out to the pick that's made it.
Yes, it's not really. Oh, it's kind of in the shot right now. I'm sure there'll be another picture making its way here soon.
I hope so.
What was I forget what the question was.
What does Travis have to do?
Oh, yeah. Just keep playing.
Yep. Two Favorite Uncles says, curious question, who is another big-name quarterback in CFB that would hit the portal?
All of them.
That's the thing. We don't know, and we will find out.
There's literally no one is safe.
Yes.
Like
Dylan Gabriel. I don't think anyone expected that last year, right?
No.
Cam
Arch
Ward.
Manning could hit the portal.
Right, yeah.
Anything can happen. Mm-hmm. There's no, the second that portal opens, it's the Wild West.
So let's just wait until then.
Let's just focus on, if there's any time to look forward, it's the bye week, but
I understand. But
we're in the midst of something magical happening.
But we can all agree that getting Julian would be way bigger than getting any portal quarterback, right?
100%.
Other than Arch Manning, like you said.
Yeah.
Scotty says, should we be worried about the amount of late hits Shedeur has taken? I don't know the stats, but it seems like he's averaging one every game since last year.
Yes. He's just so tough.
He is.
And the hits are down, but part of it has to do with the fact that he knows a lot of times that if I just take this hit, we're going to get this completion.
Yep.
And he's such a dog that he's just always willing to make that trade.
Yep.
And it's another thing that I just don't think enough people have talked about with him.
Mm-hmm.
He's at the Louis fashion show and he's flashing the wristwatch. It's like, yeah, he's also one of the toughest players in the country.
No doubt he is. I do want to see him slide a little more in the open field.
I know. Every time he's out there, I'm just like, please go down. But when you're a dog, it's just hard.
Goes back to the Burrow comp. Burrow took some hits too, man.
Oh, yeah.
Just to get that last half second, just so he could make that throw.
Yep.
Same trait. Big Teasy says Shilo hinted / joked about Coach Prime making 2 stay another year. He has eligibility. You think that's possible? That is never going to happen.
Yeah. I did hear that, though.
Of course coach is going to say that,
I know.
but come on. We know exactly what's going to happen after this season.
Top 5 picks don't hang around.
Yes.
As they shouldn't.
Chris Fleming says, if Juju flips to CU, is he starting out the gate with a bolstered O-line? I think he can handle it.
What happened that you brought up quarterback recruiting. Okay.
Yeah.
That's how we ended up here.
I mean, yeah, he starts out the gate. He's got to, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say he has to, but it's you bring in a player like that and you tell him, like, we're handing you the keys.
Literally.
Yes.
Yes.
And you live with some of the, growing pains that happens from a true freshman quarterback starting, but knowing that, like I said, this is the beginning of a new journey that's, a longer path.
Yep.
One of the things that made Coach Prime's job so interesting at Colorado is he's expected to win right away, of course, just from he's Coach Prime. Everyone that hires a new coach wants them to win right away, but like the pressure was on him even more. And then you double down on the fact that it was like, you've got 2 years now with 2 out of this world top 10 pick players. Mm-hmm. Like, you got to flip this roster around as fast as possible.
Exactly.
To set up those guys to have success. After those guys leave, it's a whole new world, a whole new setup. Mm-hmm. And that's why we've talked about this team tapping more into the high school ranks for recruiting moving forward.
Yep. I just found the tweet about Travis talking about how he wants to stay in Colorado and play for the Broncos because he loves it out here.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a tough day.
We got 7 games left, right?
Talk about the Broncos not getting him, though.
I know. I'm just saying. We got 7 games left.
Yes.
Of Shedeur and Travis and a bunch of other awesome players, too, in Colorado. So
at least 7 as well.
Enjoy them.
Yep. Everyone keeps asking about Tyler Johnson. We don't know what's going on with him.
Well, someone said RK not in black seems weird. I try to bring...
Yeah, what are you wearing?
This is it's a little North Face windbreaker. I try to bring the color into my wardrobe via outerwear.
Okay.
So, it's not totally rare to see me in a different color in a jacket form.
All right. Anything else? That's it. That is it. I don't know what time the show is tomorrow yet.
Okay.
We'll let you guys know. But we see you then. Let's go Buffs.
Let's go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.